Hey everyone, this is Zach with 8020 Media, here today with a video on the BMW M3 versus M5. Which one is better? The M5 was initially introduced in 1984, and the M3 was introduced in 1986. So both of these cars have been in production for nearly 4 decades now, through a number of different chassis, a lot of different updates, design changes, and engines in all of the models. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to specifically compare the BMW G80 M3 with the F90 M5, the newest models of both the M3 and M5. Now, as one note, the M5 is getting an update for 2025. It will be the G90 M5. So there is a big change coming for the M5 here in about a year. Even though we're just looking at one specific chassis of the M3 and M5, many of these concepts hold true and apply to just about any M3 versus M5 comparison, assuming you're looking at M3s and M5s from roughly the same era or roughly the same years. Starting off with performance, the M5 has always utilized larger, more powerful engines. Both the M3 and M5 did get bigger and bigger and more powerful engines over the years, but ultimately that applied and held true throughout their whole lifetimes. For example, looking at the E90 M3, BMW had moved to a 4-liter V8. At the same time, the E60 M5 had moved up to a 5-liter V10. Ultimately, the M5 has been the faster straight line performance car between the two. However, with that said, looking at the newest M3 and M5s, the BMW M3 has really closed the gap even with straight line performance, thanks to the 3-liter twin-turbo S58 engine that delivers really just incredible performance, and also the addition of xDrive or all-wheel drive to the M3. So talking a little bit about straight-line performance, looking at the G80 M3, specifically the M3 CS model is able to achieve a 0 to 60 time of 2.7 seconds, a quarter mile of 10.7 seconds at 129 miles an hour, and that compares to the F90 M5 CS with its 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8, which delivers a 0 to 60 time of 2.6 seconds and a quarter mile time of 10.6 seconds at 130 miles an hour. So the M5 does still hold an advantage over the M3 in both 0 to 60 and quarter mile times. Not anything that's really going to be noticeable. Moving on to our next topic, looking at handling, driving experience, and feel of the vehicles. The M5 is the bigger, more luxurious vehicle. It does weigh more, and so that does hurt its handling and overall driving feel a little bit, just being a bigger car. If you drive an M3 and then drive an M5 right afterwards, you will notice that the M5 feels a lot bigger. It doesn't feel quite as nimble or as tossable around the corners. The point is, the M3 is going to feel like the smaller, more nimble vehicle and feel a little bit more like a true driver's car. Backing that up with numbers and specifics on handling too, if we look at a 300-foot skid pad, the M3 CS was able to achieve 1.06 Gs, whereas the M5 was only able to achieve 1.02 Gs. So incredible numbers for both vehicles, but a slight advantage to the G80 M3 over the F90 M5 there. And the same can be said looking at track times. For the Nürburgring, the F90 M5 CS ran a 7:29, and the G80 M3 CS managed a 7:24. So the M3, despite its power disadvantage, ultimately made up with the lighter weight and better handling and was able to beat the M5 by 5 seconds. Ultimately, in summary there, despite the M3 having less power than the M5, it has always been the slightly faster car around a track, just because, again, it is smaller, a little more nimble, and lighter weight than the bigger M5. So tying into that, looking at size and luxury for the M3 versus M5, as I already touched on, the M5 is the bigger, more luxurious car. It is more spacious. I'm not going to throw out any specific specs on interior or exterior dimensions, because even looking at those, sometimes it can make it seem like the M3 and M5 are a lot closer in size than they really are. However, hopping in either of the cars, you can really feel a noticeable difference between the M3 and M5. The larger M5 is going to feel more luxurious, more comfortable, and more spacious than the M3, and that's outside of the fact that the M5, being a higher end car in the first place, does tend to have additional features, a little bit more technology, and so ultimately the advantage there for size and luxury goes to the larger BMW M5. As a final topic, looking at reliability is something that is challenging just because that changes so much over the years, depending on which specific chassis we're talking about when looking at the M3 and M5. Between the two, the M5 does tend to be the less reliable vehicle and the more expensive one to own. It's going to have bigger wheels, bigger tires, brakes, everything. So even just looking at general maintenance, the M5 is going to be the more expensive car, and typically when problems do occur, tend to be a little bit more expensive to fix and repair. So ultimately a decent advantage to the BMW M3 there. But again, talking about reliability specifically does vary based on what engine you're looking at, what year and chassis of the M3 versus M5. When it comes to common problems, we've filmed videos on pretty much all of the BMW engines, especially anything from 2000 and up. So if you're looking at a specific year model of the M3 or M5, check those out for more information on some common problems that are specific to those engines. In summary of the M3 versus M5 comparison, while these cars are similar in many ways, both carrying the legendary M badge and being in production for nearly 40 years, they are very different cars and really very different target markets for the M3 and M5. The M3 is going to be the slightly less powerful, slightly slower car in a straight line, but it does deliver better handling, and the smaller, lighter weight nature of the M3 is just going to make it feel like the more fun driver's car, especially if you're looking to go to the racetrack. That's not to say that the M5 is bad in any way, it's just that the M3 is going to feel like the smaller, more nimble car. For the BMW M5, it's going to be a little bit bigger, more luxurious, more comfortable, have a little bit more technology and advancements than the BMW M3. It is going to be a little bit faster in a straight line at the cost of handling slightly worse just because of, again, a bigger, heavier vehicle. So really it depends what you're looking for in a car as to whether the M3 or the M5 is better. If you want a fun, sporty sedan, you want the space, you want all of the comforts and extra luxury features of the M5, then that's likely going to be the better car for you. However, if you're looking for more of a driver's car, something that's going to feel more nimble and be more fun to toss around the corners, then the M3 is generally going to be the better car between the two. Anyway, guys, that wraps up our video for today. If you appreciated the content, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out the description below for more. Thanks, everyone.